All right, everybody, welcome to BO Boys for Thursday, August 3rd. Fuck it, it's a raw feed. We're doing it live. I'm Clayton.
Yeah, I'm Pat. Clayton, happy day after your birthday. I mean, let's let the listeners know your birthday was yesterday.
Yes, definitely.
So,
Let everybody know identifiable information about me.
i- is a birthday something that could be used? People
Yes,
know people's
yes.
birthdays.
No, they
Okay, so
don't.
so when
The only people
Entertainment
who know
Tonight,
my birthday
yeah.
is my friends, my family, AMC, so I get my free popcorn. And other than that, that's it. My
Okay,
bank, that's it.
but you have to accept that the BO Boys are on the rise. The show is bigger. Answer this yes or no. BO Boys is bigger than it ever has been before, right? July
Yeah,
was the
100%.
July was the biggest month in the history of the BO Boys. Is that correct?
Yes.
So that means that you are
I'm a
on
public
your way to.
figure.
You're a public figure, and,
You
and
sound like TMZ right now, Pat.
well,
You understand that? You
think
sound
of
like TMZ.
think of when we were kids watching Entertainment Tonight every night. Mary Hart. What would she do every episode? The end of every episode, she would announce
Celebrity
what
birthdays.
celebrity birthday. So was that Entertainment Tonight revealing critical identifiable information about these celebrities? Was she
Yeah.
was she outing Robert De Niro every
Yep.
year when she would announce his birthday was today?
Well, it wasn't as easy to steal identities back then as it is now, my friend.
All right. Well, here's the thing. It was your birthday yesterday. That's out
No.
there already. That's out there already. It's out there already. If Mary Hart was still alive, she would have announced it on Entertainment Tonight. So we might as well get ahead of the story. But
Great. I'm going to
here
cancel my credit card really fast.
okay, you do that, but it's your birthday and I think this is worth mentioning because this is the weekend preview episode. MEG2 The Trench is coming out. Also, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles is coming out. And as part of your birthday celebration, we and a friend, we will not name her. We don't want to put out identifiable information about
Oh,
people
well,
who are not us
protect her, but don't protect me.
until the second she becomes a celebrity at the level of the BO Boys. Sure, I will put all her information out there, but that time has not come, so I won't say this friend's name. But we are going to see for your birthday. And I think at this point, we could say for sure we're seeing this movie under duress. You'll be seeing this birthday movie under duress. We're going to see the Ninja Turtles this weekend.
Mm-hmm.
So I think a thing to keep into account when we do our top fives and our full final predictions this weekend is which of these new movies or the holdovers will be the birthday movies of choice. Because especially for August movies, going to see movies for a birthday in a big group, that is a big part of the equation for whether a movie does well at the box office. So we're seeing Turtles for your birthday, and I think we have to hold that in our heads when we make these predictions. So
Well,
happy birthday.
yeah, thank you. Well, the question is here, is this a birthday party movie?
Right,
Right, for kids
right,
too. I mean, not
right.
just adults. So that's gonna be the question with Mutant Mayhem. I mean, it opened on Wednesday, so we already have preview numbers for it.
Yes, yes. And
So it 3.8 for Tuesday previews,
mhm.
and it's looking at 30 million plus over the 5-day. That was as of yesterday.
Yeah.
So that's going to change when you're hearing this episode. Some trackers have it at 40 million for the 5-day. We had it higher. I mean, we both had it, I think, in the 30s for the 3-day.
Yeah. Yeah, and listen, I still think that the tracking is a little low on this, or the predictions here are a little low, even with the weekend preview numbers coming in. I don't think this is necessarily a movie that's going to do well in the evening weekend preview slot. This is a kids film.
Yep.
So even though kids are out of school, I still think it's going to play better on the weekend. It's going to play better in the daytime. And I do think the reviews for this movie are going to help it grow throughout the weekend, because I think as more kids see this movie and actually, the reviews are great, and word of mouth is going to be really important for this Turtles movie, because I do think audiences need convincing that this is good.
Mhm.
And so the more people see it, I think the more people that will see it as the weekend continues.
Well,
That's where I am on Turtles.
it had a better Rotten Tomatoes rating than even Spidey cartoon
Wow.
at a point. I don't know if that's
Wow.
still the case, but so it's in the 90s.
Yeah, I still think that it will have a bigger opening weekend than is being looked at. I mean, you said 30 for the 5-day. I still think it could hit 30 in the 3-day. I think that
Mhm.
word of mouth is going to be huge on this, and comparisons to Spidey cartoon are exactly what you want right now, because Spidey cartoon is one of the most beloved biggest hits of the summer. I mean, the big thing is does Barbenheimer continue to just eat all right
I
now?
mean, that could be
Barbie's
the
eating up there.
case. Yeah, I think that is the case here. So, I mean, but Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles seems like a movie that could play well into the fall
Yeah,
because again, it's a kids movie. If people like it, it's the rats need their cheese.
rats
So,
need their cheese. Yeah.
and this definitely looks like it's aimed at a younger demographic than even Barbie.
Yes, yes. And it's got, I mean, we've talked about it. The issue is you don't get to have Seth Rogen out there on the chat circuit pumping this up, but it did play at Comic-Con without any actors. They showed footage of it at Hall H, and that was half full. And people are liking it. Every time they get a little taste of these turtles, the word is that people are liking it. So I think you just need more tastes, more bites at the shell, and then the word of mouth is going to be big. But yeah, I
Well,
think it could still do 30
I did see
in the 3-day.
a YouTube video of Ice Cube and Seth Rogen eating each other's favorite snacks. So they did
Okay.
record stuff previous to the strike
Okay.
to, show so people were excited about it.
That's great.
So there is some promotion going on. I mean, and also there's no limit to the ads there that can be shown. So I'm seeing those ads everywhere. I'm seeing a tie-in with Pizza Hut. You can
That's
get
spec.
a special pizza from Pizza Hut, I believe, that is Ninja Turtles. Not necessarily themed, but it ties in with the movie in some way. So that advertisement, and people know this movie is out.
Yeah.
And I think
Yeah.
the Seth Rogen edition is, to me, more for the adults to bring their kids than the kids to be like, "Oh, the guy from Pineapple Express."
Yeah. Can Seth Rogen, and you're in the Screen Actors Guild, a member in bad
In bad
standing. So
standing, yeah.
so you would know the answer to this. Can Seth Rogen do a sly promotion this weekend for Turtles by delivering pizzas to the strikers on the picket lines? He
Yeah, if
doesn't
I were
say
him, I'd
anything.
do that.
Mhm. So
I
you
mean, he
you
could say
that
ca yeah, he could say "Cowabunga."
he could go to the picket lines, deliver pizzas, say cowabunga. He's not wearing Turtles merch. He's not promoting it, but he just that. He's allowed to do that per
Yeah,
SAG
he's
rules.
not necessarily promoting struck work, he's just giving some pizzas out to people.
Right, right. And listen, there would be people online who would see what he was doing, and they would try and, oh, he's a scab, he's a scab, but it's hard to be considered a scab when you are delivering food to the picketers.
Well, and the thing with pizza is that it's so dividable. I mean, if
Mm,
you're bringing food to picketers, pizza is one of the best things to do because you can give out individual slices. He's not gonna bring Chinese food and
right.
plop some lo mein in people's hands. That's bad.
Right, right,
So
right,
pizza just makes sense, and it
right,
also can be a benefit to his movie. Why not do it? I think he
right.
should be doing it right now. If he
Yeah.
hasn't done it, by now I'm shocked.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, they should get the whole cast of Turtles to deliver pizzas across all these picket lines.
Yeah, well,
Seth
they're
Rogen,
little
John Cena.
kids. Oh, you're not talking about the Turtles, you're talking about
The
Cena, Ice Cube, Paul
Yes.
Rudd,
Yes. They should all be delivering pizzas to the picket lines this weekend.
uh,
Yeah.
Ao Barry.
Yes, Ayo Berry everyone
I
should be
said her name
everyone in that
wrong.
cast should be delivering pizzas.
I shouldn't
So,
even tried it.
well, you're on strike. So
Yeah,
pronouncing the names of actors correctly is also possibly struck work.
but I think
So,
you said it right, Ao Barry.
okay.
I don't know. I said it okay, I guess.
So Turtles is coming out, but and if you want to hear us talk more about predictions for that, go to our last episode with Wannabe intern Christopher. We all talked Turtles preview. So the other big movie coming out this weekend is MEG 2, The
Mhm.
Trench. So Jason Statham fighting a giant shark, a giant prehistoric shark. The trailer has what I think is a great image of the Meg eating a Tyrannosaurus Rex. I love that. I feel worried though that in this movie that could be a scene that is like a dream sequence or something. I don't know. Like this movie's
Mhm.
not going to be about the Meg in prehistoric times fighting dinosaurs.
Yeah.
Um, but it is a great image in the trailer. They play the song Barracuda in the trailer. I mean, that if you were making enough Meg movies, at some point Barracuda had to be in the trailer. So the thing is, this one really feels like it was a movie that people were high on at the beginning of the summer that now is going to get eaten alive by Barbenheimer.
Yeah,
The
and
Meg feels like the T-Rex and Barbenheimer feels like the Meg in that trailer.
I feel like maybe I don't think everybody was high on this. I do think that there were people who thought it could be a sleeper. I think this is definitely big international, worldwide play. It's not a domestic play at this point. It
Mhm.
definitely is going to do really well overseas, and I think it's gonna do very poorly here because it's the epitome of what people have rejected this year,
Okay.
which is another round of a action movie that we've kind of seen all the moves of, right? And I think you know, when you look at Dial of Destiny, you look at MI7, when you look at those sort of movies, when you look at Fast X, the Meg has one move and it's shark. And then this one is bigger shark. And Statham is a guy, but his hits are modest hits. And so this thing really looks stale to me. When you put it up against Barbie and Oppenheimer, it just looks stale.
Okay.
And there's nothing in these trailers that excites me. I mean, the first one did really well. The first one
Did
ended up
145 domestic
yeah,
after opening at 45. So the first one was an all-out hit on both domestically and internationally. It ended up 527 worldwide.
and it was like a surprise sort of
Yes.
that it did at that well. I think all the surprise here is gone. I think this looks stale as hell, and I do think that it's gonna tank here. I'm not saying it's gonna, open in the teens, but I don't think it's gonna do well, domestically compared to the first one. There's no way it reaches 144 here, but
Yeah.
I think it does buff a Bobo overseas. That's what
Yeah.
this movie is. It's not for
What
domestic, consumption.
I disagree a little bit with this movie being the epitome of what's going wrong this summer, because what's going wrong this summer are A, superhero movies, but B, late entries in long-running franchises. When you say indie, that's the fifth one. In Mission Impossible is the seventh one. Transformers is like the seventh or eighth one. So I think Fast X is the X one. So I don't think the Meg 2 is necessarily a problem because it's a sequel. I think the bigger problem is and this is the great Scott Mendelssohn's one of his great box office inventions. This is the Tomb Raider trap, or not even
Mhm.
necessarily the Tomb Raider trap, because the Tomb Raider trap is first movie is a big hit but is bad. Second movie is actually a good movie but bombs because of the first movie.
This
So
doesn't
we
look
don't
like a
know.
good movie.
This doesn't look like a good movie, so it's probably not Tomb Raider trap. So forgive me, Scott Mendelsohn, for even invoking that. But I think it's a problem in that the first movie was not good and not liked and didn't give people exactly what they hoped for, which was, I think, a more gonzo movie. The
Mhm.
Meg original movie was not as gonzo as the premise and the sort of trailer would have led you to believe. And I think, to me, that's a bigger problem. If the Meg was a surprisingly great movie that was beloved in retrospect, I don't think there's any problem with there being a sequel. Because, I mean, look at John Wick 4. That still had all the steam. You could do sequels. Spidey Cartoon 2 was a big hit. Guardians of the Galaxy 3 was a big hit. But the problem is the first one isn't some beloved great movie, and now it's a sequel. So
It
yeah,
does
it's
play
gonna
on
perform
cable a
less.
lot, though. It does play on cable a lot, I've heard
Yes.
that it's
Yeah.
there. But here's my thing why I think it is
It's a
equivalent.
rewatchable.
I do think it's equivalent to those other franchises because sometimes franchises wear out their welcome in a shorter
Yeah.
span of time. Meg 2 is Fast X because you don't need more than one Meg movie,
Right.
right? That's my thing is that nobody is saying, I really need to see more of this, especially this summer, which, I mean, July, second biggest July ever,
Yeah.
1.37 billion. And that is thanks to, a lot of things, but
Yeah.
mostly Barbenheimer.
Yep.
But this to me feels like the kind of stuff that is, old and tired, and it's gonna get rejected.
Yeah. Yeah. I agree. I mean, when you look at that first one opening at 45 million domestic, back in August of 2018, and now as we sit right now, it feels like the Meg 2 is gonna open to about half of that.
20
So then
something.
then that sort of leads you to do the math and make it feel like this is a movie that domestically is going to top out in the 60s or 70s. But you know what? Like you said, it's an international play, and you got to make a sequel to that first Meg movie, after that performance. You don't have to make Fast X or Indy 5 or Transformers 8.
Mhm.
Those were uh, uh, moves that shouldn't have been made, but you had to at least make a sequel to that first Meg movie. And then after this, then the decision is based on what it does. Does this get another theatrical sequel? Does it start to become a straight to quote unquote DVD type franchise? Because
I
there
mean,
will be more Megs. There definitely
I
will be more Megs.
I I mean, I think it might be a Jarhead situation where you have Meg 3 that
Right.
drops on a streamer and Statham is nowhere near it.
Right. 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 No,
I mean,
that's
this is
that's very possible.
this feels Pacific Rim-ish to me, where first movie opens up, does like 37, and then legs out to 100 or something, and then Uprising opens to what did it open to?
Oh, that's a good
28,
call. Yeah.
28. So that's sort of not that much lower, but it legs out to 59.
Right. Right. Well, I think with the Pacific Rim movies, the thought was the sequel will do much better than the first one because they thought that the first one had sort of Austin powered itself and gained fans post theatrical, and that didn't really happen with Pacific Rim. I mean, I think with Meg 2, it's a total
But
cash grab in that, again, they had to make a sequel to that first one. That first one made so much money with it's a big budget movie, but you're not, and Statham's a movie star for sure, and he's getting paid well. But it's not a movie where it's like a fast movie where there's 10 different people who are all getting paid $10 to $20 million a piece, and the budget is out of control. You can make your Meg movies for relatively a good budget.
Well, when you look at this Pacific Rim Uprising 2018, 59.8 domestic haul, and then international 231 million. So you're going to see, I don't think the Meg is going to be as low as this. I think it will get over 60 all in, but the lopsidedness is what you're going to see. You're going to see a hugely lopsided international box office for this
Yes.
movie.
Yeah. And listen, it's not guaranteed that the Meg 2 internationally does even as well as it did last time because, again,
It's going up
especially with
against Barbie.
China, it's going up against Barbie, and especially when it comes to China, it's a different world than it was in 2018. The Hollywood movies are not raking in those big China bucks the way that they did, pre-pandemic. It's just China has its own movies now, and the Hollywood movies don't play. The Meg is obviously a movie that is very geared towards international because language doesn't seem to matter when you're talking a Meg movie, just watching giant shark eat people. But it probably won't do as well as it did the first time. And I know Scott Mendelson was on a few months ago and he was very high on Meg 2 internationally, but it may underperform there too.
No, I mean, it may, but they cast one of
Right.
the highest grossing actor of all time in China.
Right, right,
Wu
right.
Jing is in this movie. So that was done
Yeah,
intentionally.
true.
And that, I mean, it may not do that well, but if you've got the highest grossing actor of all time, and it's like having Tom Cruise in your
Well,
movie.
well,
I'm I guess I guess you're right. You're right. It's true. I guess it doesn't matter, but over
there
there it may matter.
yeah, yeah, Wu Jing may be in a better spot today than Tom Cruise is in the United States.
Yeah.
Um, and it's still Tom Cruise. Tom Cruise is not finished by any chance just
Yeah,
because
I mean,
MI7 underperformed. Yeah.
and we're giving it the thing about MI is that it came up against a
Yeah.
buzzsaw,
Yeah.
and it's doing fine for a number 7 in a franchise that
Yes.
is not known domestically to be spectacular.
Yeah.
So y we don't wanna defend him and say that there isn't a problem with MI7 and it's not a disappointment, but there are factors
Yeah.
involved here
Yeah. Yeah.
that
I mean,
they didn't outright reject this movie.
no, no. Listen, we've talked about it, and the more you think about it, possibly the biggest problem is Tom Cruise's entire promotional tactic was you got to see this on the biggest screens in the world, and then within a week, the biggest screens in the world were not showing Mission Impossible 7, and he
Mhm.
gave his audiences an impossible task. I mean, look, you have not
It's a
seen
great
Mission Impossible 7.
it's a great tie-in, though, when you think about it.
Yeah, here's something about Meg 2 and the promotion that I think needs to be discussed is that Warner Brothers Discovery owns a Discovery Channel. One of the biggest weeks in television every year is Shark Week on Discovery Channel. And Shark Week happened about a week ago, so right before Meg 2 The Trench came out. The host of that week was Jason Momoa, and the entire week was a promotional tie-in for Aquaman 2. It was
Mhm.
not Jason Statham hosting Shark Week promoting Meg 2 The Trench.
Yeah.
And I think that's a missed opportunity, but it does show where the Warner Brothers executives were at when it came to these two fish movies. They had two
Mhm.
fish movies in front of them, and they chose Aquaman 2. They did not choose Meg 2 The Trench. And listen, and I'm under the assumption if asked, Jason Statham would have hosted Shark Week. He would have sat in a
Yeah.
green screen studio for 3 hours and said, "Ooh, look at that shark. Ooh, look at that shark. Ooh, look at that shark. That's a cool shark." He would have done it.
Well, hilariously, Aquaman is possibly not even coming out this year, so it's gonna be another case of, "Oh, we've got this promotion that is gonna benefit this movie," and then it's useless because the movie then gets moved.
Right, right. That's very possible. I mean, I still think Aquaman 2 cannot move. I think you put that out. But even just in general, even if it comes out in December, Shark Week's in July. So they chose to use July Shark Week to promote a December movie rather than a early August movie.
But who knows when all this stuff was shot? It could have assumed that Aquaman was coming out earlier. Like we just don't know how long ago this whole thing
Right.
happened.
Right. For all we know, Warner Brothers has the next like 8 years worth of Shark Week hosting footage in the can already.
Yeah, yeah. I mean,
Yeah,
it's definitely possible. So let's let's talk a little bit about this email that we got just to go back to Mission Impossible really
sure.
quick. Wannabe oh boy Reed wrote, "The mission is over, period. I was
Over.
going to watch Mission Impossible again theatrically. I thought it would stick around till Labor Day, but my local 14plex only has it at 9:50 p.m. next week. Well, mission over.
Wow. Wow.
It's looking
That is
pretty
damning.
bad. It's looking pretty bad."
Yeah. I mean, when you start to see, and it's going to happen in the next week or so, that Mission Impossible is only playing at the oddest times, where when you start to see it's an 11:15 showing every day, 11:15 a.m. showing.
Mhm.
It's a 3:20 p.m. showing once a day.
Yeah.
That is sad. That is sad. And this is it. This is when it's over, when it gets to the once a day showings. That was
Now
always a sad moment in the life of a blockbuster
mhm.
when you would see, oh, this is the last week or two. It's playing once a day. This is it for this movie.
But
And it happened so quickly with MI7. So
that's the
quickly.
thing is the half-life of pardon me, the half-life of this movie was shocking.
Yeah. Yeah.
Now, do
It's
we wanna
sad.
get to our top 5s?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think there's any other big movie news. Any strike updates, I guess, from your end before we do the top fives. You're of course a member of SAG in bad standing, haven't paid your dues in several years, but you still are effectively Clayton on strike. And
Mhm.
any movement, I know the WGA and the producer, the AMPTA are said to be hitting the negotiating table this weekend on Friday, but any movement with you, Fran Drescher, and SAG, have you and Fran Drescher moved any, are you guys going to get to the negotiating table?
I mean, I don't know. The thing is that, the picketing, it seems like the SAG strike is so weather dependent
Right,
that I don't know, is the air quality good enough to go out there with signs?
right,
This today, I know it's like a very beautiful day in New York City, but who knows? We have to check air quality. We have to check barometric pressure, I guess, before we
right,
pick up signs and walk around.
right, right, right.
So who knows if there's been any picketing this whole time?
Right. I mean, yeah, I guess people do know, but you haven't had a chance to go out there recently.
No, because every time I check my inbox, it's, well, the picketing's canceled because of heat. Picketing's canceled because of air quality.
Right.
I don't know if there's been any picketing done whatsoever.
Right. Right. Um so yeah, I mean, I also don't understand, instead of picket signs, just have umbrellas with the messages on them. That seems to be if I were an umbrella company, I'd make some strike umbrellas and I'd probably sell a couple of thousand of those out right away.
I mean,
Um
if you're SAG, do it. You need money.
Let's just, before we get to our top fives, a few more emails came in. So we've got wannabe oh boy Chris, who is not wannabe oh intern Chris. They are different people. We have so many listeners now that some of them are going to have the same first name, and that's just, everyone's going to have to deal with that.
That's a sign of great success when you double up on names for
Yes.
fans.
Yeah. When it becomes hard to identify who is who, that is when you know you've made it, and therefore that's when you know you're a celebrity and your birthday must be broadcast publicly. So
Uh,
that's another sign that I was correct in doing that. So, wannabe oh boy Chris says that I was listening to your most recent episode. Towards the end, you were talking about TMNT being in all the crap theaters. Christopher mentioned growing up spoiled and only knowing stadium seating. I thought I'd mention that I've been in Vienna. Congratulations, Chris. That I've been in Vienna for the past week with my near 18-year-old son. Uh, and he says, in quote, incidentally, perhaps the most boring European capital. Shots
Hmm.
fired on Vienna. Um, so he continues, we started seeing long movies as a way to kill some time. We saw MI7, third time for me, and Dial of Destiny at a place called English Cinema Hayden. No dubbing, obviously, not even a subtitles. We saw The Third Man when in Vienna at the Berg keynote. These were all small, hot, stuffy, cramped basement theaters with pretty small screens. During Dial, the tall guy's head sitting in front of me covered about 20% of the screen. That is a big head. Says, I
Hmm.
doubt I miss much. No leg room, very weak AC. Having said that, all three movies were packed. It was so much fun. Felt like the real throwback movie going experience from my youth. So that is from Wannabe Oh Boy Christopher. Very interesting. So around the world, people are watching movies in cramped basement theaters with no AC and screen so small that it is barely 5 times the size of a human head. So
Hmm.
that is what people are doing around the world. So are we just spoiled Americans, Clayton, when we ask for these PLFs? Meanwhile, in Vienna, a world capital, they're watching movies in a basement.
They're not a world. I mean, we're the entertainment capital, so we deserve the best entertainment. I mean, that's
Right.
the thing, is that
Right.
we are the standard bearers. We set the pace.
Right.
Of course, they're not going to have as good a theaters as ours. They shouldn't. We
Vienna
should
should.
always have the best. We should always have the best theaters. Absolutely, we should always have the best theaters.
Yeah.
And we have to be. Listen, we're never going to be the top in education. We're
Right.
never going to be the lowest in
Crime.
houselessness or
Yeah. Yeah.
crime,
Yeah.
but we can always be the best in theatrical if we want to be.
Right.
That's what we have to remember, is that we
Right.
can be so far ahead in that if we wanted to. We got to be so far ahead in something, and that
Right.
should be
Right.
what it is.
Right. Our
People should
children are
come
not.
to our theaters and talk
Mhm.
about, "Oh my gosh, I'm so used to these cramped basements where I'm
Mhm.
watching The Third Man for some reason,
Right. He's killing
and
time.
I'm now I'm walking into a palace. I'm walking into a paradise of luxury seating, of giant screens. You know,
Right.
screens bigger than most things in the entire country
Right. Right.
of some places."
Right. Right. Yeah. It's the reason why people come from all over the world to live in the United States. It is why Ellis Island is full, is because of our big screens, of our PLFs, of our rumble seats. Our children are not educated, but we have 4DX here in the United States.
Yeah, getting splashed
Yeah.
with water in the face should be like, for people from other countries, like seeing a squirrel in the park. They should be
Right.
shocked by it.
Right. 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 So yeah, but it is something to hear that these movies that play all over the world and still get audiences are being shown in basements, no AC. But like you said, we're the entertainment capital of the world, so it's not us just whining when we say America needs more PLFs. It is just what should be.
Mhm. Now while
Well,
we're
thank you. Yes,
Yeah, what
go
were you gonna
for it.
say?
No, no, I was just gonna thank Christopher for this boots on the European ground email. That is some international reporting. Thank you, Christopher.
Yeah, we kinda thank you, Christopher, but we kinda had our fill with Pat over there talking about France or wherever the hell he was. So,
Yeah, San
this is a
Remy,
domestic
Paris.
podcast, so
Yeah,
it only really matters about theaters there, but it does give us a I mean, listen, it was a great talking point, and it did give us a conversation about the dominance that we should have in theatrical. But while we're at it, we got a new review on
Mhm.
Apple Podcasts, the most important place to review. So give
Yes.
5 stars. Love the show, blah, blah, blah. We got one from Daniel. Daniel says, the best movie podcast in the business. I've searched years for a great movie podcast and have always come up short. My long search is over, says Daniel. Thank you, BO Boys. Thank you.
Wow.
I
Thank you.
mean,
Thank you, Daniel. Or
we
you're welcome. You're welcome, Daniel. Not
you're
thank you.
welcome.
You're welcome. Yeah.
We started this podcast for that reason.
Yes.
We searched high and low
Yeah.
for something about box office, people who actually knew about it, people who actually focused on it and cared about it.
Yeah.
A podcast that wasn't just a podcast, but a historical document.
Mhm.
And that's what we have created.
Yeah.
And I envy you, Daniel, that you get to listen to it fresh and
Right.
not re-listen to it like we do.
Right, right. We could only enjoy this podcast having already said the words.
Mhm.
And, you know, we don't get to experience it the way the listeners do. And you're right. The BO Boys exist because we wanted to listen to the BO Boys, but the
Yes.
BO Boys didn't exist until we became the BO Boys.
Mhm.
But if we had went out there and we had found the BO Boys, we wouldn't have had to become the BO Boys. That
No.
is, you know, that is the conundrum of Clayton and I's life. So, you know, you're welcome basically to all the listeners. But yes, Apple Podcasts is the place to give us a 5-star review. And you know what? It's Clayton's birthday.
Ah, stop it.
So as a birthday gift to Clayton, give us a 5-star review as a birthday gift. Isn't
Yes.
that a nice birthday gift to give us a 5-star review?
It is nice.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Listen, my birthday's in a couple of weeks.
Yeah.
We'll talk about it ad nauseum on this show. I
The
expect
17th of
17th
August.
of August, and I expect there to be a week of episodes devoted to my birthday.
Yeah.
So I'm excited for that. And when it comes time for my birthday in a couple of weeks, 5-star reviews as a gift to me. Right now, let's give 5-star reviews as a birthday gift to Clayton.
Sure.
So it's
Well,
birthday month here on the BO Boys.
let's do our top 5s here.
Let's do it.
So, do you want to go first?
I will go first, and for the third weekend in a row, it's gotta be Barbie.
It's
It's
gotta
gotta
be.
be Barbie. And 93 million last weekend. And I think this movie's gonna do a similar drop in maybe at 40%, which would be a drop of what, like 38 million. So it's gonna make like 55 million probably, Barbie, for number
Mhm.
one. So Barbie's number one with 55. I think number two will be these turtles. I'm just gonna say it gets a 30 in the 3-day. I don't
Mhm.
know. I think it could do it. Maybe I'm overestimating how good this word of mouth is going to be, but I go Turtles 2, number 2 at around 30 million.
Well, what did you
Then
say initially for your
oh, well, whatever my prediction was on the last episode, that's my prediction.
Okay,
But
good.
so yeah. I forget exactly, and I probably was in the 30s, but either way, that's number 2. Then number 3 is a close one because Oppenheimer, you figure, is going to drop 50% and make around 23, 24 million. So it really is a question of, is Meg 2 going to open so low that it makes less than Oppenheimer? I Yeah, I got it. God, I can't send Oppenheimer down to 4. So Oppenheimer is number 3.
Mhm.
Meg 2, The Trench, is number 4. And then I think that Haunted Mansion falls off a cliff and Sound of Freedom jumps over Haunted Mansion and Sound of Freedom is number 5. That's where I'm
Yeah.
at. That's where I'm
Uh,
at. So I'm going Haunted Mansion goes to 6 and MI7 goes down to here's the prediction I'll throw out there. Here's what I'll throw out there in the bottom half. I think Talk to Me the A24 horror film,
Mm-hmm.
finishes ahead of Mission Impossible 7 Dead Reckoning Part 1 in the top 10 this weekend. They both had a pretty much photo finish around 10 million last weekend.
Mm-hmm.
And I think Talk to Me is the movie with momentum and is going to finish ahead of Mission Impossible. So
I
that's
think
my
that's a great
secondary
call.
prediction.
I
Anyway,
think
so Clayton, what is your top 5?
number one, Barbie, of course, slam doink. I do think this movie makes 60.
Wow.
I think it holds really
Wow.
well. People still want to see this movie. Number two, I'm gonna go Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Mutant Madness because I did say 33 for my three
Okay.
day, so I'm gonna stick to that. But
Okay.
I think Oppenheimer is very close underneath it. And then I think, yeah, Meg is 4
Wow.
because I don't see it beating Oppenheimer. I just don't.
Yeah, it's hard to imagine that.
And then I agree with you. I think Haunted Mansion is going to get killed by Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Nobody's talking about that movie. Nobody cares about that movie. So Sound of Freedom is going to continue to roll, and I do think it beats Haunted Mansion. So that's my fifth movie this weekend. So I think we're pretty much in tandem here.
Do you agree with the Talk to Me over
Yeah,
Mission Impossible? Wow.
yeah, yeah.
Wow.
Mission Impossible is just losing theaters, and there's no momentum there. I think people are thinking, I'm gonna check this out on Paramount Plus.
Um, I will be seeing Talk to Me in theaters tonight.
Nice.
I'm
Yeah,
I'm very excited to see it. I felt like it has hit the zeitgeist, enough that I needed to see this film. So,
you have to give us some boots on the ground on Sunday
yes,
when we
I
do
will.
our wrap up to see what was the crowd like, because that
Yeah.
where you live, there is a lot of older people, but there is a lot of kids,
Yeah.
like fifth, like
There are
teens and
kids. I
tweens.
would bet that yes. Yeah. I'm gonna bet though that in my neighborhood, it will be what I think makes up the majority of or a big part of the movie going audience in my neighborhood, which is older people who still think that they are young.
Mhm.
And I feel like that will be the audience for Talk to Me where I'm going. But we'll see. If it's a heavily teen audience, then
Mhm.
this movie has got the juice because
Yeah.
obviously the teen audience is what's going to make this
Make this what it is.
just horror heads and hipsters.
Mhm.
So we will see. I'll give a boots on the ground reporting. I'll also let people know if this is a horror movie. I've heard there is some gnarly scares in here. Wannabe intern Christopher did say that there are some shocking moments. So will those shocking moments create vomits? We haven't heard anything about vomits like we do with Terrifier 2, but will they create some big audience reaction? So I will keep track of what the audience is doing during those big scare moments, see if we get vomits, see if we get walkouts and screams and so on.
I mean, I think vomit is such a rare
Yeah.
case. You really have
Yeah.
to hit a certain tenor
Yeah.
of horror movie to get vomiting.
Yeah. I'm not predicting vomiting,
Mhm.
but you know, if there's vomit, we'll be there. That's one of our
Absolutely.
promises to you, the listener. So yeah, email us, of course, at theboboyspodcast at gmail.com. We love getting your emails, reading your emails. Thank you again to Reed and to Chris. And we got a great email from Austin that we will get through. Austin just always sends such great in-depth emails. So thank you, Austin,
Well, he's the
for
one who
that.
mentioned Momoa being the host of Shark Week. Is that where
Yes,
you
of
got that
course.
from?
Yes, yes, yes.
Yeah,
So
name
thank
your
you, Austin,
source,
for that.
Pat.
Thank
Name
you.
your
Thank
source.
you, Austin, for the hot tip about Momoa. I mean, I also did see weeks and weeks of advertisements for Momoa hosting Shark Week.
Mhm.
From watching Warner Brothers Discovery content, I do watch Max.
Yeah.
So,
I
but
canceled
yes,
my
no,
Max subscription.
I
I
gotta
no
I gotta
longer
hold on.
subscribe to Max.
I gotta hold on to Max. They still got it. They still got one of the better archival libraries. You
Yeah,
know,
if you can dig through all the reality bullshit.
that's the
It's terrible
problem.
now. We're not the streamer boys,
When
huh?
huh?
But Max, you have to make it possible to hide the Discovery bullshit. I
Yes,
want to see movie content. You
yes,
have such a deep library of great cinema that you are burying underneath these renovation shows
yes.
and
Dr. Pimple
these
Popper.
yes, and these my 1,000-pound girlfriend, all this stuff. Love at first bite or whatever it is. I don't know. Love at first date. I don't know what it is.
And if those were movies, fine. If there was a, Ivan Reitman movie called My 1,000 Pound Girlfriend, sure, put that on the
Yeah.
homepage. Of course, it's a movie. We'll watch it, but not a, 13 season TV series that was on Discovery, in the
Or
late
TLC.
90s.
I don't want to see any TLC shows
Yeah.
on a front page, but that's all
Yeah.
I see. So I canceled you.
Wow. Wow. That's cancel culture right
I
there.
was going to say the real cancel culture
Yeah.
is
Yeah.
I canceled my Netflix and I canceled Max.
Wow. Wow. I
And
mean, I
everything
I
else is on the and Paramount Plus, you're on the chopping block too, my friend. The only one that I will continue to pay for is Peacock.
yeah, you gotta keep the cock.
Yep.
You gotta hold on to the cock,
Mhm.
Peacock. So, wow, Paramount, I mean, listen, we're not the Streamo boys, but hearing you who in a past life was very pro Paramount Plus, to hear
Mhm.
that one is on the chopping block, even
Yeah.
with all of its road rules, real world archival content, with all of its Tom Cruise movies. I mean, you've gotta hold on to it for a few more weeks because let's face it, MI7 Dead Reckoning will be on Paramount Plus a lot sooner than any of us thought.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, that's probably I watch that and then I cancel.
Wow.
And
Wow.
then I just pick it up when there's something that I wanna watch. I mean, that's the way
Wow.
you gotta do it, is cancel
Wow.
and then resubscribe and then cancel.
Listen, we're not the Streamo boys. Obviously, as the show becomes more and more worldwide successful, who knows? Maybe there's spin-offs down the line, but that is a long time from now, and there needs to be a big check to get the
Mhm.
Streamo boys to happen. So,
Yeah.
so email us, of course, give us 5-star reviews. We mentioned that it's birthday month here on the BO Boys. So 5-star birthday presents for us would be great. Watch us on YouTube. We are much like the directors of Talk to Me. We are YouTubers. So subscribe to the BO Boys Podcast YouTube channel, which is also just blowing up right now. We've got full episodes there. We've got clips from episodes so you could relive your favorite moments of past episodes on the YouTube channel. Join, of course, the YouTube community. Give us some comments, give us some thumbs up, and of course, subscribe. And of course, what else do you do on YouTube, Clayton?
Ring that bell.
You gotta ring that bell. When you ring that bell on YouTube, good things happen for everyone. So ring that bell for us on YouTube. And of course, follow us on social medias. Wannabe intern Christopher is killing it on the social medias at the BO Boys Pod. And he's got the clips. He's got the vertical clips. That's what everyone wants these days is vertical clips. So wannabe intern Christopher giving you that at the BO Boys Pod on social media. And I think that's it, Clayton.
Yeah, that's it. I don't think there's anything left to say, Pat,
No, there's nothing left to say.
except for until next time.
Will
We'll
smash